Amwell, December 31, 1949. Self-awareness and self-observation. A question was asked recently: is there a difference between self-awareness and self-observation? As you have heard, self-awareness is a term connected with the third state of consciousness which we all lack when we are immersed in the ordinary affairs of life and hypnotized by the daily recurrence of usual events. The third state of consciousness is called the state of self-remembering, the state of self-consciousness, the state of self-awareness. All these words applying their own weight to the quality and the attainment of the third state of consciousness which, although we are born in possession of it, as our right, we drop away from by reason of the fact that we grow up among people who are asleep, that is, people who do not remember themselves and actually enjoy being in lower states as those of negative emotions, self-pity, identification, and worry. As a result, the attainment of the third state of consciousness, that is the state of self-remembering, self-consciousness, self-awareness, is at a level above us, to which we can only attain by certain kinds of efforts. All work efforts are directed towards the regaining of this level of consciousness called the third state of consciousness. If mankind were in this state of consciousness, all wars would cease at once. Man and woman, as they are, have fallen to the second state of consciousness, in which they imagine they are awake, self-conscious, and so on, but actually, from the work point of view, they are all fast asleep. For that reason man does not get help from within himself. Yet this help exists in him, if he could listen. There are inner centers of a much higher order than we ordinarily know. But the point is that they only communicate with the third state of consciousness and cannot reach the second state of consciousness, in which we live our ordinary lives and which is characterized by the illusion that as we are fully awake and always act and talk consciously and always know exactly what we are doing. This illusion we must awaken from by self-observation. We had, over long years, to observe that we are not conscious of what we do or say, that we are always in a continual state of being identified with everything, that we have no permanent inner feeling of ourselves, and react to the effects of the events of life mechanically produced in us. We react. We do not act. We are mechanical, not conscious. The work, as well as all other esoteric teaching, says emphatically, man is asleep and he must try to awaken from this state of sleep. If he does not, he is of no importance. A man who lives and dies in a state of sleep has completely failed to realize what is the most important thing in him to strive for. If by means of self-observation one begins to realize that one is asleep and not awake, in trying to ascend to a higher level of consciousness one learns a great deal about the general idea of levels that permeates this teaching that we are studying here. We seek another level of ourselves. We seek a more conscious behavior by means of self-observation. We can, for example, begin to realize that our ordinary state is not characterized by anything that has to do with the third state of consciousness, but on the other hand, is characterized by always being identified, worried, upset, and in the general sense always having negative emotions.
If you enjoy this video, subscribe, like, and comment. Also do not forget to hit on the notification bell for the next episode on InsVid.